Is Bill going to be done in New England? Is this the end of an era?
Era.
Yeah, end
of an era. Yeah.
End of an era.
Era.
Is Bill Belichick going to be done in New England? How about that? Let's just say that. So is Bill done? And we have a video here that's kind of alluding to this conversation about Belichick's possible future if it happens to be the end in New England.
Yeah, so I actually have two videos that I wanted to cover, because one of them is from Tom Curran, and he is a beat writer for NBC Boston, and he was the one that kind of broke this news about how Bill Belichick's future was decided in Germany. So I wanted to play this for you guys real quick, and then we can kind of get into what some of Bill Belichick's former players actually said about him and what they think about this entire situation. So let's go ahead and take a look at this.
The Kraft's decision was a final decision, or was there any wiggle room if they finish with a flourish and win out the rest of the way? Could ownership change its mind?
Based on the conversation I had, it felt as if the decision was fairly well sealed. However, I mean, if the Patriots finish with a flourish, could things change? I mean, it's 28-3 right now. And we know that that's not an insurmountable deficit, but it's very late in the game. And what's the tenor if the Patriots reel off, 4 straight wins, 2 of them against really good teams, Kansas City and Buffalo, the Denver game is ahead of them. But is that enough to wipe away the evidence that led to the feeling after Indianapolis and the game in Germany and all the games prior, the Saints game, the Cowboys game, the Commanders game, the Raiders game, the blowouts, the dysfunction at the quarterback position, which only grew worse in the weeks after the Giants game, the Indy game. You had a week off, then you came back after the Giants and had the Giants, and Mac Jones couldn't make it into the second half. And then you had a shutout against the Chargers. So, it's the nature of the losses and the product on the field and the promises of improvement that the Kraft family made to their season ticket holders that led to that decision at that time. Could a flourish change things? Could Bill Belichick turn on the charisma and the charm and unearth a plan for going forward that at the end of the season, the decision changes? Until it's done, it's not done. And everyone reserves the right to change their mind. And there was no juncture at which I said, okay, final answer. It's your final answer, because you're just not in a position to do that.
Obviously, just kind of talking about the 28-3 reference, talking about the Super Bowl and the Patriots comeback there. Basically, Tom was trying to say that, it's not necessarily a done deal, but he had reported that there was some rumblings and there was kind of some decisions made around that Germany game and how things were pretty bad. The one takeaway that I had about this was the Patriots, the Kraft family, they're not used to a rebuild. Robert Kraft came in and really didn't have a losing season, except for maybe the first season he had come into to ownership, maybe first or second. He's owned the team for about 30 years, give or take. And so I don't think that he's truly seen this dynasty and then now we have to rebuild. To me, my thought is, if I'm an owner of the Patriots, if I'm Robert Kraft, I have to understand that finding a quarterback, and we've already seen it this season, finding a quarterback that's going to be your guy is extremely difficult. And to be honest with you, the Patriots defense is actually pretty damn solid. It's just their offense that's really terrible. And it all starts with the quarterback. One last thing before we get into your guys' reaction is this reaction from Rob Gronkowski and Julian Edelman on the Kay Adams show. And this is kind of what they have to say about it.
I don't think it's 100% done. I think there's probably isn't the person the source in to know. I don't know. I don't think either of them on either side are thinking about that right now, or at least on Bill's side. Bill's is probably just going to play the season out and worry about trying to win football games. But it won't hit me until it's actually, hit. So I don't even know where to go with that.
Why is it so hard for you to believe?
Roberto?
I agree with Julian. I think those reports are kind of
they're not, too far stretched out there, but they're kind of fall still because I think there's still some season left to play. Coach Belichick can definitely prove himself. And if you asked him in the media this week, I saw the media people were asking the questions, hey, are these reports true? What do you think about it? And he just kept saying, I'm on the Kansas City, which I think is a great answer. I think that's the best way to handle it.
Fellas, what are your thoughts?
Well, I'll open and shift it to you guys here, and we'll start with Zach after. But as a player, anybody that's in it, yeah, you got to keep playing, and even if things aren't going well, your thought isn't going to go, well, shit, I'm done. You can think, man, this season's been brutal. Things have not gone your way. This is not what I was hoping. And for Belichick, he'd be probably one of the few people that actually can have a conversation for how long he's been there of, this could be a possibility, but I'm with them. I think Bill is so focused as a professional, and the guys in that building are going to focus on winning because that's their job. And everyone outside of that building is going to focus on where the hell is Bill going to go or what's going to happen to him. And that's the reality of it. In that building, while it's still going, if you're a pro, your job is, if you're a pro's pro, you go back to work and you keep working and you deal about other shit later. Zach, what do you think?
I sit with what Edelman said. Until it happens, I can't really, it's not going to hit me until it happens, if that makes sense. And I physically do not know in my life a Patriots team without Bill Belichick at the helm. So it is just one of those situations where it almost, until it's official, until he says, yeah, we're going to go our separate ways, I don't believe it. And these reports, yeah, there might be truth to them. I think there are discussions being made, but I also don't think that the Kraft family and how they operate, how Bill Belichick has operated and their relationship, I don't think a leak would get out, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's understandable. Rock, what you got?
You guys remember the date the Germany game was played against the Colts? It was like November 12th. You remember the day? You remember the day that Dan Orlovsky came out with the report that he believes that Bill Belichick will be joining a new team next year? It was 2 days later, and then this gets brought up. So, to me, the same thing. It's not going to feel real until it does happen. And media-wise, I don't know if someone from NBC Boston or NBC Sports Boston, like Dan, is going to put that out there if there's not some truth to it. He's not going to risk his career over saying something as dumb as that. If it's not dumb, I'm just, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're not going to say something that's doesn't have any truth to it if there's not any truthful substance to it. So the writing does seem like it's on the wall. Like they said, though, is it, if he rattles off a few wins, do things change? Maybe, but it's really seeming like that this could be a Patriots team without Bill Belichick at the helm next year. And that's crazy to even think about or say out loud right now.
You know what's crazy to me is that Zach is 23 years old, and he just made me realize that Belichick really has been coaching his entire life. So
as I said that out loud, I actually realized that was true.
Coaching
him and
entire
Brian
life.
Cashman. I've never known a life where the Yankees aren't run by Brian Cashman.